Hello and welcome to the first Photoshop tutorial. I'm going to be going through the basics of how to set up a project and how to do a few simple things using Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so on the computer at the moment you've got Adobe Photoshop CS6. What you should do at this point in time is just load that up and then create a new project. Okay, so just very quickly I need to change my Windows workspace essentials default. Okay, so what you should have is a blank screen and you can see where everything is essentially. All the only real things you need to worry about at this point in time are the tools at the side here, the canvas area and the layers. Okay, these are the things that we're going to be going through today. Okay, so start a new program, start a new project, new. It doesn't necessarily matter at this stage what you set for your width and everything like that, your width, height, size and all of that things, but just take into account that there are presets. For instance, if you want something that's nice and easy to print on paper, just go to International Paper. There'll be a preset for A4. This is portrait at the moment, so if you want landscape, nice easy thing you can do is just swap them around. Okay, so that's just going to create a landscape canvas, but you don't have to obviously put it to that. Okay, so we have lots and lots of different tools here, and I'm just going to go through a few with you. Okay, there are many different ways in which you can import other files into Adobe Photoshop, other pictures and things like that, because that's essentially what Photoshop is used for. It's a piece of composition software, so for still images and things like that, it's perfect for creating compositions or almost like collages. Okay, so I have, just for this activity, selected a couple of pictures that we're going to be playing around with, but I just wanted to show you very quickly the type of image that can be created using Photoshop. So this image is a composite of two images. One is a side profile and one is a profile full on, and what someone has done is they've manipulated it so that you've got both of the pictures coming together. It looks pretty freaky. Ooh, it's like an optical illusion. Okay, so you can create things like that just as soon as you've got a hang of at least some of these tools. And we're going to play around with a few of those in today's session. Okay, so for my activity, I'm just going to bring in my two files. Oh, this one's not playing ball. Just put a tick for there. Come on. There we go. Okay. So when you first drag in a file, as you can see with this one, we essentially have to tick to place a file. Essentially what happens is when you first bring a file in, you have the option of free transforming it straight away. So you can place it anywhere. You've got free transform area. It's not become pixelated like the rest of the image at this stage. Yeah. If you hold down Shift, you can move the size up and down based on the proportions being constrained. But if not, it goes all over the place. So I would suggest holding down Shift. That's held down. That's not. Hold down Shift, and you'll be able to get it looking nice. Okay. When you're finished, when you've placed it in the correct position, just press place, okay, or commit transform. Right? You might be asking, where's Will Smith's head gone at this point in time? Let's have a look. Now you'll see at the side here we have different layers. Every image, every asset that makes up our composition has its own layer. Okay, and they sit on top of each other. So at the moment I cannot see Will Smith's face because it's covered by a red tomato. But if I then move this layer above the red tomato, I can then see Will Smith's face. Handsome lad he is. Okay, so that should be pretty straightforward for you to understand. Now if I double click this, I get all sorts of different layer styles come up. Feel free to play around with those at any point in time. Just press cancel on that for now. Okay, so what can we do with this picture and this picture? Well, I was hoping to transfer Will Smith's facial features onto the tomato because it would make me laugh even slightly. Okay, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I am going to make his head larger. Okay, so I do that. I can do that plenty of different ways. I can come up here and find adjustments and find a free transform tool, or I can simply press, with the right layer selected, I can press Command T, and that brings up that free transform that we saw earlier. I hold down Shift to increase the size. Okay, so at this stage, I just want to put it in the place that I want the face to be at. Just do like that. I'm just going to press place. Okay, so the idea is to transfer this face onto that red tomato. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of a lot of the actual head silhouette and a lot of the actual features on the outside, and I'm going to blend them in with the red tomato, and I'm going to change the skin so that it is of a reddish colour. Okay, so one way in which I can do that is by creating a layer mask. So add a layer mask to the layer in which you are first using. So there we go, I've added a layer mask. Okay, notice that this is all in white. The reason why this is all in white will be made clear in a little while. Okay, these next instructions are very important. So just to go back, we made this layer mask by pressing this button. Okay, add vector mask. Okay, now I am going to right click this and I am going to select add mask to selection. Okay, now a marquee has come up. Okay, yep, with that marquee selected, I'm just going to now press delete or the backspace key, and now it's gone. It's disappeared, but notice the layer mask has turned to black. Okay, what that allows us to do is use only the paint tool, once I find it, the brush tool and the eraser tool. So I have the ability to brush on this layer mask, this mask that controls that whole layer. I can brush that on and I can erase it if I want. So just to illustrate, what I've done is I've messed around with the square brackets to make the brush larger. If I right click, I can also get size and hardness and things like that to play around with. So just going to do that very briefly, and there we go. We've got a little bit of the face appear. Okay, don't want too much. I think I've gone over. It is a transparent PNG at this point in time anyway, so because of that, the edges are quite harsh. So I'm just going to get rid of the ears. I'm going to rub that out. Can you see what I've done there? I've just gone straight to the eraser to do that. Once again, didn't necessarily like that, so I'm just going to go Command Z, get rid of some of that. I'm going to right click and change the hardness. I'm going to bring the hardness right down. Okay, and I'm going to bring the size up. Remember, I can do this with the bracket tools as well. Okay, so go along, erase the bits I don't want. Just so that Mr. William Smith, can be fully integrated and blended in to his surroundings. Okay, do that particularly there because that is where the shine is. Okay, I kind of want this tomato to have a beard, so I'm going to add a little bit more. So I'll go back to my paint tool. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Add in his beard if I can. Okay, he's got a bit of a chin, this tomato, but that's okay. Alright, play around with it a little bit more. Get rid of the harshness there, if I can. Around here as well. Yeah, it's nice because we can keep in his wrinkles and things like that. There's a bit of shine there, I want to keep that shine. I perhaps want to get rid of any shadow because it kind of looks unnatural. I say unnatural, but it's a tomato with a face, but that's neither here nor there. Bring this down. We don't need as much of his face as possible. So there you go. With a little bit of tweaking, it starts to come together how we want it. Okay? I like his cheekbones, so I'm going to keep those in if I can. Alright, now, we've pretty much done all of that. I'm just going to zoom in, go Command plus, zoom in, and see what else we can do. So far we've played around with a layer mask. Let's now try something else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a very useful tool, which is the color replacement tool. Okay. Now before I do that, I'm going to come out of the layer mask, because remember, the layer mask only deals with the rubber and the paintbrush. So I'm going to come out and go back into the main layer. There we go. Alright, smart object must be rasterized before proceeding. Edit context will no longer be available. Rasterize the smart object. What it's basically asking me is, do I want to commit to the picture looking like this at this stage? If I tick yes, it means that it will become pixelated. Okay? If it gets any larger or smaller, that's okay. But be careful of doing it. If you have an image that you want to maybe blow up later, you're not going to be able to, because it will become pixelated. Just press OK. There we go. Alright, so at this stage what I'm going to do, I'm going to select, as I tried to do before, the colour replacement tool. Now the colour replacement tool, if I can just very quickly go out of this and just show you with the brush. So if I have a blue colour as the brush, and I want to, for instance, make a line or anything on this layer, I can't actually see anything. As you can see, it's there, but I can't see anything because it's not within our layer mask. The only thing within our layer mask is Will Smith's face. So I'm just going to very quickly go back, rub that out. Make sure that you're doing this on the right layer if you are playing around. So let's go to the layer at the bottom. If I go with a blue line there, and then I'm going to change the colour, a green line here. Okay. Now with the colour replacement tool, what I can do is, with the right colour selected, so for instance at the moment I've got the green colour selected, if I just press that through that, it's going to change the colour, okay, to green, but keep all of the contrast and shading and things like that. So I can often, maybe I press for the blue using the eyedropper tool, and then I go over the green, and then it replaces the colour. Okay, so that's essentially how a colour replacement tool works. All right, that's obviously a transparent background underneath our layer. I got to that by pressing layer from background, which is not actually you're able to see at this point in time. Okay, so maybe I just want to get rid of this layer, in fact. Okay, alright, so here we go. We have the two images. So I'm going to try the colour replacement tool on Will Smith's face. So first of all, I'm going to have the right layer selected, that's Will Smith's face, and I'm going to take the eyedropper tool and I'm going to take it to the nice healthy red colour, and then I'm going to bring in the colour replacement tool. I'm going to zoom in, okay, and I'm going to start going over this. Alright, we're on this layer, we're not on this layer. If you want to protect this layer at any point in time, just lock it off. That's always a good idea. So we're in the right area to start replacing the colour. Okay. Now, this is working according to plan. You can essentially see that it can replace one colour, the brown, with the red. Okay, but it is, for my liking, too harsh, because when it comes to areas like this, we're going to want it to be a little bit softer. Okay, so I'm just going to go Command Z, get rid of that. I'm going to right click, I'm going to change the hardness. Okay, I'm going to bring up the size as well. Okay, so as you can see, it's now a bit more soft. We can go around. Okay, do his crow's feet, do all around here, go nice and close up. Now, what the brush does is it picks up on certain colours and goes around the image in that brush area and tries to locate those colours and compensate and change them. Okay, so it all is down to what is in that red area. Okay, so for instance, I'm going over white here. It only gets that white, doesn't it? But if it's over this brown area, it gets all of it. Okay, so I'm just going to speed it up as I go over everything. Okay, as you can see, we've pretty much got it how we want. I can zoom in and I can tweak other areas, like for example this area here, that's not the colour I want, so I can just go over that. Okay, obviously that has now coloured in his gums, so I'm going to come out, Command Z, Command Alt Z to go back further, step backwards. I'm going to go back to where I was. I'm going to put the brush in further, and I'm going to be a bit more rigid with what I choose. Okay, here as well. Go along. Get the lip in, but not the gum. No reason why Will Smith as a tomato can't have proper gums and teeth. Okay, so there you go. That's a basic in blending using layer masks and the color replacement tool. I can be obviously a little bit more detailed with this as well if I wanted to. I could perhaps go over it with different colors. So up here it's going to be a different color than say down here. So go back to my color replacement tool and try and change the colors so that they best match what I see. Yeah, that's very subtle, you can barely actually see that, but there is definitely a difference there. Okay, that's essentially it. One other thing I'll quickly show you is the whole idea of a transparent background. So at this point in time, this cross hatch represents transparency, as I mentioned earlier. If I wanted to very quickly select something, I'm just going to, whoop, wrong layer, I'm just going to play around with marquees. So, for instance, this is a marquee. Anything, including what we've played around with the layer masks before, anything with a marquee is represented by a moving line. Okay, something that moves and is essentially sort of live, I guess. That's the way in which you could describe it. Okay, but these marquee areas have lots and lots of different uses. For this one in particular, I'm going to show you is the most simplest. It's the magic wand tool. It's basically the first thing you end up playing with. Okay, so I'm just going to right click on this white area here on the correct layer. I have to unlock that. Maybe I'll lock this one in the meantime. So I'm here and I'm just going to press once. Okay, this is a high contrast image. Okay, because of that you can see that the magic wand has picked up on that one solid color. Okay, that allows me to essentially do whatever I want with that specific color. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, the smart object is not directly editable. Okay, that smart object question again, what we're going to do is we're going to rasterize the layer. Okay, making it a bitmap. Okay, so now I've got rid of it. There you go. Now there's plenty of things I can do with this now. This could be an icon. I've got to make sure that I export it properly, preserving the alpha channel, which is the transparency. But essentially, yeah, that's it. That's the basics in Adobe Photoshop, and I'd like to see you play around in your own way. Thank you very much.